This is a thinking of playing video on the game Kircholm 1605, Victory of the Winged Hussars, published in the Vivictus French Wargaming magazine. So this is a Vivictus magazine of historical games, number 116. And the featured game is Kircholm 1605. You get the full, beautiful Vivictus magazine, completely in French. I knew nothing about the Battle of Kircholm 1605. Full historical article. And Kircholm is in Livonia, in the Baltics. And this is Jan Karl Chodkiewicz. I think that's Chodkiewicz. I believe he's the winner on the Polish side. And then this is Karl the Ninth, Sweden. Both figures on our, actually, here is the piece for Chodkiewicz. Looks a bit better than in the picture there, but when I get to the rules, we'll see Chodkiewicz's leadership value of 2. My quick scan of the game right away led me to believe that he is the only 2 leader on the battlefield, which is significant for that side. And then we have Karl the Ninth of Sweden, this guy right here, and he is a lowly 0. So historical article. Here we are again. Duchy of Lithuania. Up there. East of Riga. Modern day Riga. Okay. All right, so that's the magazine. Always, just incredible magazine. I only wish they did a full English version. As usual for the Vivictus magazine games, you get the little, what is that, like a little half-sized, half-sized but still full color rulebook. So Kircholm 1605, Victory of the Winged Hussars, uses the same system as Newport 1600, which was published in Vivictus 105, which I played and enjoyed. So there are the rules in French. Full page of tables. And with the game that I bought, a full English translation of the rules. Now these rules are so cursory that I could probably go through the entire rules this way. Well, a lot of the rules anyways, because they are very succinct actually. But I know with Newport 1600, I didn't see any major problems or any major holes or gaps. So Kircholm 1605, as I understand it, Kircholm is the same, again, system that Newport 1600 is, which I believe is also the same system as the folio game Avec Infini Regret. and I believe that these games by the designer Florent Coupeau are an outgrowth of Ben Hull's Paris vaut bien une messe game, which is a streamlined version of Musket and Pike. So why play Kircholm 1605? Why go through all of this work for a game that is, a native French game? Because it can serve as an excellent introduction to Musket and Pike, being a streamlined version of Musket and Pike. Okay, so we're talking 20 to 30 minute turns, 150 meter hexes, units representing 200 to 1,200 men, depending on type, and 5 to 10 cannons. Wings. Okay, so all units are assigned to a wing. An army has 3 to 5 wings. So the battlefield with the army setup. This, by the way, is the Polish-Lithuanian side. Let me get this right. Yeah, this is the Polish-Lithuanian side, and this is the Swedish army. The map is excellent Vivictus quality. The other day I was reading online and somebody actually criticized the map style. Somebody actually did not like the map style where just the corners of the hexes are identified. Needless to say, I like this a lot because what it allows me to do is I can look kind of broadly and see the broad sweep. Or if I look closely, I can clearly see the hexes separated. So I like this style, but I know some people will not. But this is the Vivictus style. So the wings. For example, on the Swedish side, we have Lennartson, the leader right here. He has the name, background, and the counter values are done in a purple style, and so all of the purple colored units, which happen to be the whole first line, the Swedish first line in front. This is all Lennartson's wing. And then you have Mansfeld, green, and his units, his subordinate units are identified with the green color theme there. And then orange for Brant, etc. So for the Swedes, they have 3 wings up front, and in back they have, this is Luneburg, his formation in brown, and then Karl the 9th, and his in red. So 5 wings. What I'm pointing out here is that in my play of this system, it is always easy to clearly delineate wings without going to like full or even almost fully colored counters, so that it looks like New Year's Eve confetti or something. The general color schemes, purple, orange, green, brown, and red, are all clearly distinguishable. And then on the Polish-Lithuanian side, got the brown formation over here. This is Dobrova here. We've got Vojna in the front here, right here. We've got Lachki, I think it's supposed to be Lachki, here. And we've got Sapiha here. And then we have Chodkiewicz there on the rear right of the Polish-Lithuanian deployment. Okay, So wings. All units are assigned to a wing. They're color-coded. Hex has 3 to 5 wings, so here we have 4 Polish-Lithuanian wings to 5 Swedish wings. Orders. At all times, each wing is under one of 3 orders, and in order of priority, they are charge, march, or rally. So charge, march, rally in order of precedence. So each wing is always under one of these 3. Each commander controls a wing, and each unit has a commander. Morale status of a unit. So I'll use Monson as an example here. The morale states go like this. Has to do with the side of the unit or I'm not sure how to put that. Or the status, front or back of the status marker. So normal morale status is front side of the counter. Disordered is the back side of the counter. Shaken is the front side of the marker. And broken is the back side of the marker. Game uses a 10-sided die, where a 0 is a 0. The counters, in an infantry unit like this, the N or letter in the top left is the unit type. Designation. Fire is the smaller number top of the bottom left. So a fire value of 5 in this case for Monson. Morale value is the 6, so the larger value in the lower left. And over here is the movement value. So what's nice about the morale states is that everything is easy to use. So this is normal morale status. Disordered, you flip it over. The effects are morale is 1 less and movement is halved. But that's already... Oh, and fire went up. Okay, so... Yep, and that's right. Movement is halved, so it's already halved for you. Morale goes down 1 and fire goes up 1 in values. And then when you use the markers, again, you have the summary right on there. Movement is 0. There is no movement when you are shaken. Fire is +2, and morale is -2. Flip it over. Broken status. Route movement only. That's telling you that you can only execute route movement. And -5 to morale and no fire. Cavalry is the same layout. And I also just noticed another thing. How you know at a glance that units are disordered, other than the fact that they're on their back side, is that the fire value is against a yellow background. So we have a leader. Leaders have a command value of 0, 1, or 2. Mansfeld has a leader value of 1, movement value of 10. Flip it over, and this is activation done. His name is his name is on a yellow background, and his movement value is blanked out. It's like Mansfeld here and Lennartson here. A wing commander must always be sacked with a unit of his wing. If he moves alone, he must end his movement in a hex containing another unit from his wing. The command value, 1 in Mansfeld's case, 0 in Lennartson's case. Command value is used for reactivation, preemption, change of orders, interception, melee, and morale tests. Combat units are of 2 sizes, so the system does have double-sized units, but Kircholm doesn't feature any of those. Kircholm only features simple units. These are the square 1-hex units. And then there are double units, which are, again, they're double-sized units. Okay, so the types. Let's see, H. There are H units like Dobrova, H for Hussars. G for gendarme. Oh, actually not all types may be featured in Kircholm, so maybe there aren't any. Gendarmes. I don't see any. C for cuirassiers. There is one at least. Yep, right here. Here's a cuirassier. C. R for... I know we have those. Yeah. Witting is writers. Arquebusiers. Don't think we may not have any in Kircholm as well. May not have any arquebusier. And Cossacks. K for Cossacks. Do we have Cossacks? May not have Cossacks either. Oh, yeah. We do have K for Cossacks. Yeah. Okay, and then we have S for Swiss. May not have any of those. L for Germans or Walloons. I didn't see any L's. T, soldiers adopting a Spanish formation style or tercio. I didn't see any of those either. The infantry in this game look like they're M's for musketeers. M, musketeers. Great artwork, by the way, as is typical for Vivictus. Doesn't get any better than this, art-wise. What I like about Vivictus, here's a good example. This is what I like about Vivictus. Just top-notch line drawings, and they're the right size. They're not too small, they're not too big. The color is nice, just enough color. Just great. All right, so that was N. N is soldiers adopting a Dutch formation. Okay. So, yeah. So the N, here we go. Oh, and it also goes without saying, if you know anything about Vivictus, unit art style, what they do is they have these are all N units, infantry units. These are all soldiers adopting a Dutch formation style. They're all the same unit type, but as Vivictus does, they use distinct icons for each separate unit. These are not cookie cutter icons, graphics, whatever you want to call it. There are tercio units, double T units, but not in Kircholm. Yeah. The markers, like I said, there were the order markers. We already looked at those. Preemption of a wing. There are markers for lances. There are markers for out of command. Markers for interception. Markers for charging. These are the main ones. Those are the main markers. Oh, there's even a dismounted charge. Yep. So you got your information markers. It is a nice amount, but I never thought that it was too many. But you'll see in play. Okay, sequence of play. Orders phase, first turn only. Players secretly choose the orders of each of their wings, unless specified otherwise in the special rules of the scenario. Okay, a quick scan of the scenario seems to indicate that the only orders requirement set by the scenario is that Leonardson's wing in the front here, the Swiss front, has to have a charge order. So Leonardson has a charge order. The rest of them I chose, so I'm going to give Brandt a march order, Mansfeld a march order. I'm giving Lüneburg back here a march order, and Karl IX will keep a rally order. On the Polish-Lithuanian side, Sapia will have a charge order. Lachki will have a charge order. Boyna will have a march order, and Dobrova will have a charge order. I don't think that Chodkovich by himself has to have an order. He doesn't have a wing. So then we're going to decide who goes first. Basically, we're figuring out who has the most orders of the highest precedence. So remember, it's charge, march, rally in precedence. So we look at the Polish-Lithuanian side. They have 3 charge orders and 1 march order, whereas the Swedes have 1 charge order, 3 march orders, and 1 rally order. So we know that the Polish-Lithuanian side is going to go first. So to jump right into the action, Dobrova here with his charge order. The Polish-Lithuanian side will activate Dobrova and his wing first. The far left here, he's got a split command here, so we'll see what he can do. But he wants to charge in and get fighting. So for the activation phase, Dobrova's wing, step A is preemption attempt. Hey, let's jump right in, right? Let's make it interesting right up from the get-go. Let's just have Leonardson with his charge order try to preempt Dobrova. So once a wing is activated, that's Dobrova. The inactive player, so the Swedes, may attempt to preempt this activation and activate one of their wings instead. If he succeeds, if Leonardson succeeds in preempting Dobrova, Dobrova will be marked with an en entente marker, which is saw it earlier. So we'll see what's involved in. Yeah, he'll be marked with an en entente bypassed marker. En entente. He'll be as a bypass marker. So we'll see if Leonardson can preempt Dobrova. So basically we're just using the reactivation preemption interception table. We're trying to preempt the current order. Leonardson's current order is charge. So we go to charge, we come across for preemption. He needs to roll a 4 or less. We look at our die roll modifiers. Command value of the wing commander if not adjacent to an unbroken. Yeah, okay. So subtract, Leonardson has a 0 command value, so nothing there. -1 if the wing is composed only of cavalry. Leonardson has infantry. Actually, Leonardson is all infantry, so nothing there. +1 if the wing commander is adjacent to an unbroken enemy unit. No, he's still at his starting point. Oh, that's it. So it is a simple 4 or less. And he rolls a 2. Yeah. All right. So we know, as said before, we know that Dobrova will be bypassed. So we put en entente on Dobrova. And now Leonardson will have his activation. So I think that we basically start the activation phase again for Leonardson. You would start over with a preemption attempt, but a preemption cannot be preempted. That much is spelled out in the rules. So a preemption cannot be preempted. So we skip A, we go to B, change of orders. Leonardson doesn't want to change his orders. He wants to charge into the Polish-Lithuanians there. So unit action. Each unit of the activated wing, including the commander, may perform one of the following actions: movement, fire as part of movement, or rally, depending on the restrictions of his current order. Some actions may trigger a reaction movement from the units of the inactive player. Then we'll do melee, then we'll do a reactivation attempt. So we know we're not rallying, so we know we're moving. We're going to move, and if we get within range, we want to fire. I had been wondering when being in or out of command is assessed, since there isn't a separate, I didn't see any separate phase, but it's actually spelled out in the rules right now, right at the logical point that I would be looking for it. We're checking for being out of command at the instant that the units are about to act, which is this step, the unit action step of the activation phase, or Lennartson's activation phase. So I assume everyone's in command, but I'll do a quick check. Again, Lennartson has this whole first line here, and it's all infantry. Yeah, it's all, what did we say? We said Dutch style infantry. So real basically, a unit is in command if it can trace a line of command to its wing leader. The length is 2 hexes for infantry, 3 hexes for cavalry. So these units are all directly in command because they're within 2 hexes of Lennartson, from Stilichen to Nilsson. But on top of that, a unit is in command. How do they put it? So a unit able to trace a line of command to a unit in command is considered in command. So basically you can string. So Eriksson can trace a line of command to Stilichen, which can trace a line to Lennartson, and on down the line. So you can string them. So his whole line here is in command. No units are out of command. So we want to move forward. I guess right before I get to movement, I might as well cover this order. So again, you have the 3 orders: charge, march, and rally. For the charge order, a unit under charge orders must end its movement at least 1 hex closer to the enemy unit closest to it, right? So Forbus is here. The closest enemy unit to it is the artillery unit here. So Forbus must end at least 1 hex closer to this artillery unit. And same down the line. Peterson is closest to the cavalry there, the Reiters. And so Peterson must end at least 1 hex closer to that unit. If the enemy unit is in a frontal hex of an unbroken friendly unit, the active player can, if he wishes, take into account the hex closest, the next closest enemy unit, and so on. Okay. If a friendly unit is already adjacent to an enemy unit, it cannot move away, but can change facing and or perform offensive fire. No unit may rally. So that is the charge order, all the stipulations that you must follow at all times while under a charge order. Units, by the way, face vertices at all times. So Monson here, defined, he has 2 front hexes, 2 flank hexes, and 2 rear hexes. Yes. I won't handle the double units because there aren't any in Kircholm. Okay. So I think it's going to get complicated real quick. I think all the terrain between the front lines is just clear, open terrain. So it's 1 movement point per hex. All these infantry have 4 movement points. So they're basically, they're going to move forward at least 1, right, for the charge order. By the way, this is not tactics. This is just to exercise rules here. So Lennartson's line is just going to march all the way up. And I think what it's going to do is it's going to generate a bunch of reaction movement on the part of probably the Polish-Lithuanian cavalry, reaction fire by the artillery, and so forth. So basically, I'm going to push Lennartson's line all the way up. And I think that's going to generate a bunch of activity, reactions on the Polish-Lithuanian side, and we'll see how all this works. Okay, so the first Swedish infantry unit, Peterson, moved forward 4 hexes, maximum movement allowance. And that is exactly in the interception zone of the Polish-Lithuanian cavalry right there. In the switching to the French rules, we got our diagram. It's basically the 3 hexes. It's the 3 hex line, 2 hexes in front of the cavalry unit. This is your cavalry zone of interception. So basically, once Peterson entered that hex, by the way, he entered the interception zone of both those cavalry units, but I'm only going to try to intercept with the far right Polish-Lithuanian cavalry. So I think whether they succeed or not, they are marked with an interception marker. So start with that. And then I think they're going to roll. Yeah, I think that they're marked, whether they succeed or fail, they're marked with an interception marker. Okay, now the Polish-Lithuanian cavalry unit must roll to successfully intercept. We're back to our reactivation, preemption, and interception table, looking under the interception column, the current order of the unit. So that cavalry unit is part of Sapieha's wing, and he is currently under a charge order. So we look under the charge row, 4 or less to intercept. Then we have interception modifiers. We have the command, subtract the command value of the wing commander if stacked with the unit. He's not stacked with he's behind but not stacked with that cavalry unit. -1 if the original morale is 8. The morale of the Reiters there is 6, the bottom left number. So it's not 8. Yeah, the original morale is not 8. +1 if the original morale is 6 or less. Actually, that is. His morale, like we saw, was 6. So he actually adds 1, which is going to make it harder to intercept. -1 for G, H, or K type units. This again is why the type is important. But this is a Reiter. That's the R in the top left. So he is not a G, H, or K type. +1 if the unit is in disorder, is not in disorder. So just we're going to add 1 DRM, add 1 to the die roll because original morale is 6 or less. All right, so he rolled a 6. Adding 1 for the original morale of 6 or less is 7, which is well over the 4 or less to intercept. So I think that he does not successfully intercept, but he is still marked with the interception marker, which I think means he just can't try again during this activation. So he failed. I think he just stays there, marked interception, so that he cannot try again this activation. I went ahead and advanced the next infantry unit of Lennartson's wing, Larsson, and he entered the zone of interception for this cavalry unit. This is Chodkowitz's Hussars. This is going to be a totally different attempt because this unit has morale of 8. This one has a morale of 8, and it's a Hussar unit, so it's -1 for the morale and -1 for being an H-type unit. So this is -2, which makes it much more likely to, yeah. So he rolled a 2, -2 for 0. So he intercepts, and he moves adjacent to, I guess he wants to move, I guess he'll move here. And he's marked intercept. So he's marked intercepted, and then we'll see what he can do. All right, so I moved on, moving the next Swedish infantry unit up, but Chodkowitz, the Hussars that successfully intercepted Larsson, is marked with the interception marker because they will melee at the end of this formation activation. Now I'm going to continue on with the advancing the infantry, and I'll want to see how the artillery here can execute reaction fire, as well as got another Hussar unit here to try to intercept. Real quickly, the next infantry unit moved up, and Hussars here, Vojna 2, tried to intercept. They rolled a 6. It would be -1 for the high morale and -1 for being a Hussar unit. But unfortunately, they're under a march order, because Vojna is under a march order, which means that to succeed is actually 3 or less. So when they rolled a 6, -2 is 4. They just missed it by 1. So they did not successfully intercept. They would be marked with an interception marker. So Forbes moved up 2 hexes, and we have the Polish-Lithuanian artillery in the front here. First of all, they have a zone of fire, zone of artillery fire, which is the front, starts with the front 2 hexes, the frontal hexes of the artillery unit, and goes out its full range of 10 hexes. This is defensive fire. Artillery may fire once, 1 defensive fire, and once in offensive fire during its activation. So the artillery is going to fire now as reaction fire or defensive fire. At a range of 3, the artillery needed to roll a 4 or greater to hit. No modifiers applied. They rolled a 3, so they actually missed. All of the unit actions for Leonardson's wing are complete. They've all moved up. They've survived defensive fire, and the Polish-Lithuanians successfully used cavalry interception here and here. So next we go to melee. Melees for Leonardson's wing. So we have 2 melees to execute now. Okay, by special scenario rule for Kircholm, I went through, supposed to do this at setup. All the Hussar units have a Lances +2 marker put on them. And this will be used in their first melee, and then it goes away for good. And this unit, Zacharias, has a Lances +1 marker put on it. So the 2 Hussars that successfully intercepted, they get +2 for charging and +2 for lances in this, their first melee. Okay, so the results of the first charge interception, Chodkovitz, was attacker 1, so they lose 1 morale state. They drop 1 morale state, so I flipped it over to his disordered side. The defenders also reduced 1 level, so also flipped and retreats 2 hexes. Chodkovitz must advance into the vacated hex and may change facing by 1 vertice. He faced Peterson because Peterson is a higher morale unit than Eriksson on this side, so that's why he rotated that way. In the other melee, the Dobrova Hussars rolled a horrible 0, which is, even with their charging and first lances, resulted in them losing 1 level. The target, Nilsson, losing 1 morale state and retreating 1 hex. And Dobrova advanced and rotated 1 vertice. And that is all the melee. So this covered the change of orders, unit action, and melee steps of Leonardson's activation phase. At this point, the player has an option to reactivate.